right. Hello, everybody. I'm Shane Hoffman. I'm the chair of the American Solidarity Party's Presidential Primary Committee. I am here today for the second round of interviews with Dr. Larry Johnson. How are you doing today, Dr. Johnson?
Just awesome. I'm really glad to be here again.
Ah, good. I'm going to go ahead and just launch right into these. First off, we're past the first debate. With that in mind, is there anything you'd like to quickly clear up from the first debate?
Not really. I think I very clearly expressed what my platform is and my vision of where I think the American Solidarity Party should go in this upcoming presidential election. So I'm very happy with that. The only thing I would add is just I would have liked to have spent more time talking about the Gateway Act and how it will significantly increase the salaries of teachers. Because I think teachers are going to be the vanguard of the 21st century vision. And I really want to emphasize how I respect their professionalism, and it was very important for me to add that. So that will be the only thing that I didn't talk about last time that I would want to add here.
Yeah, okay. Now, launching into the official questions. This is something I got from my first campaign, and you've been through a few campaigns. You may have heard this. The advice I got said that you can campaign on as many things as you want, but you need to have a maximum of 3 key topics. As close to an elevator speech as you can get, what are the 3 core pieces of your campaign?
Well, my campaign is based on one topic, and the topic is a New America agenda. And under that are subcategories that I can talk about: the Neutrality Act and the War Powers Amendment, which is very important for achieving the ASB principle of peace in the world and for America. It also deals with the Gateway Act, which is about expanding economic opportunity, property ownership, and more business ownership in America. And then it's also talking about scientific progress, something as you may think as simple, as irrelevant as elevating NASA to departmental status. Why is that important to the American people? Because it speaks to the question of scientific progress, whether we're talking about biotech, whether we're talking about green energy, whether we're talking about making America energy independent. All of those have to do with high technology and high wages from higher technology. So those are the 3 main issues that are subcategory to the one topic that is the anchor of my campaign, which is unleashing the new America, the new world spirit that is coming from our founding fathers.
All right, thank you. And second question here. After debate 1, something I had heard a fair bit, that it was difficult to tell one candidate from another, that they all seemed fairly interchangeable. Can you give your audience something significant about your campaign that makes you different from the generic Pelican?
Well, I find this extremely hilarious because I have 2 daughters, and I would never describe them as interchangeable, even though they grew up in the same household and grew up with the same Christian parents, highly educated parents, but they are not interchangeable. It's the same way with our party. Who else in our party is promoting the Neutrality Act? That's not interchangeable. Who else in our party is promoting the War Powers Amendment? That's not interchangeable. Who else in our party is the Gateway Act? Not interchangeable. Who else in the party has the Shay Lee Gun Violence Prevention Act? It's not interchangeable. So I feel that this is not an accurate way to look at the situation, and I have a very forward-looking vision that is very, very different from any of my opponents. So, yeah, we're not interchangeable at all. If you don't vote for the Dr. Johnson campaign, you're rejecting neutrality. If you don't vote for the Dr. Johnson campaign, you're rejecting the War Powers Amendment. No one's going to fight as passionately as I will for the J. Lee Gun Violence Prevention Act. And no one's going to fight as passionately as I will for the Gateway Act. So don't fool yourself to think there is no difference between us. it's going to be a huge, significant, historic difference to reject the Johnson candidacy.
All right. Next up on the list is it's important to present the party well as our nominee. What I've heard from members is that they do want to see a candidate who upholds our platform naturally. But I've also heard that people aren't all that put off if someone differs in some ways. If you have areas where you differ, how do you handle that on the trail? Do you dive into that? Do you deflect those questions? What do you do, particularly if asked a direct question that would highlight something like this?
Well, I think the biggest issue, the strongest principle of the American Solidarity Party is our belief in peace. That is a very strong value for us. And there's nothing more natural, nothing more of a perfect sequitur than the topic of neutrality. So, from the strongest aspect, there is no doubt that I will be standing on one of the strongest foundational principles of the American Solidarity Party. Now, in terms of those issues where we might have some small disagreements, I will definitely not run away from those. I will definitely support those. That what's in the platform, I will support. And it's just a matter of what is my vision and what I think will help us actually win the White House. Let me make this so very clear. My campaign will be about winning the White House. I am not running just to make a small incremental gain for the American Solidarity Party. We can win this election if we are strong on the vision. The American people are fed up with the Republican and Democratic parties. They've had enough of the false promises. They've had enough of the failures. They've had enough of the corruption and the criminality. And we can win this election if we give them a vision. The American people will put us on the electoral ballots that will allow us to get enough votes to win in the electoral college. But we have to have faith in our presidential candidate that his vision is a winner. And my vision is a winner.
Right. Now we're going to go ahead and move into questions that were directly submitted by the membership. The first submitted question: about how many people do you have volunteering to support your campaign in the primary, and what sort of activities are they doing for your campaign? What approach will you take to recruiting volunteers for your general election campaign if you are the nominee?
Okay, so I think it's very important to realize that I'm new. So people are not knocking down my doors to get in. And I don't, this is something that I expected. And I'm focused mostly on establishing my platform and my vision and trying to convince the ASP voters that my vision is the right one to lead the party. So I haven't called anyone. And once I have established that vision and have given the time for the party to digest what I'm saying and see if they will agree with it, then I will begin calling people. Right now, I'm not doing that because I don't think it's fair to ask them, hey, come support me. You've never seen me. I mean, you don't know me from Adam. No, that's not what I'm going to do. What I want to do is I want to see if they will agree with the vision, the New America vision. That's the first step.
All right. And second member submitted question: if you are not the nominee, will you support the nominee in any fashion, such as being vice president or by running another race to promote the party in the campaign, or perhaps by providing your skill set in other ways?
This is such a very important question because I've made it clear already in the post on one of our pages that I will support whoever is the nominee for the party. And I would accept nomination as the vice presidential candidate if the convention delegates select me to be the vice presidential candidate. And I will do that with the level of passion, depending on how I can actually help the actual nominee. The party, the way up is that the convention could nominate somebody that the presidential candidate doesn't fully feel comfortable with. So I feel like, I mean, it's almost like Lincoln and Andrew Johnson, our first impeached president. Got to fix that last name problem for him. But anyway, uh, uh, that was not a very good, comfortable marriage. Okay, so I think that that's an important factor. That's why I would say this. Um, I personally would think that our party would make the best possible ticket if it nominated me, Johnson, as their presidential candidate and Jacqueline Abernathy as their vice presidential candidate. There is no better and more powerful ticket and statement this party can make than to do that. However, let's say if the party didn't feel like they were ready to make me their presidential nominee, and I would then suggest turn it around. Make Jacqueline Abernathy our presidential candidate and me the vice presidential candidate. I would support Jacqueline with absolute and total passion as her vice presidential candidate because I would believe that that is the most powerful ticket this party can put forward other than my own. So that's where I would stand on that. And I think that's a pretty clear answer.
All right, one last opportunity here. The last bit is closing remarks. Do you have anything you would like to say for undecided voters and to folks who have not yet become voting members of the American Solidarity Party?
I would say to undecided voters out there, I understand that we are having a great difficulty in our divided nation. And I think it's very important for all of us to sit back and think about the fact that democracy itself is still on the ballot. We have a leading candidate that actually advocated canceling the Constitution and the elections the last time, who has attacked directly our elections last time. And that person is the head of the second party in this country. So the question of democracy for all voters is still out there. And if you don't want to go again with the relic Cold War policies of the Biden administration and continue going down that path of wars and interventions, and if you don't want to risk the democracy of our country by electing a party that was willing to tolerate authoritarianism, then your choice is the American Solidarity Party and the Johnson candidacy. Because it is about the spirit of the new world. It's about America growing economically, scientifically, and continuing to be the leader that we were meant to be when our founding fathers created us.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Johnson. I want to take just a quick second before we close to let people know that they can find out more about your campaign at lejforusa.com. That's for FOR. And from there, they can read up on the acts that you have talked about putting into place and get your social media and contact information.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you. And we will see you at the debates this weekend.
Have a great one. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
You too.